to my part 2 of my walk through the village of Lizant. We're starting directly across the street from the boulangerie and walking up another street which is named for the limestone kilns which used to be active in this area. In case you didn't know, if you fire limestone, it turns into quicklime, which is essential for making things such as plaster or concrete. And business was really good here for a while until, of course, the quicklime business was all put into large factories. And now we are approaching the village parking lot. It is a small parking lot, but then again, it is a small village. I have seen a number of cars parked here. I've never parked here myself. This is the road that leads to the limestone kilns. You're shortly outside the village, but still in the commune of Lizant. And now we are going to turn a corner onto a street named for 8th of May 1945, VE Day. Rue 8 Mai 1945. Every town of any size in the nation of France probably has a street named after that date. It's the day World War II ended in France and very significant in 20th century history, certainly for the French. This street passes between the oldest buildings in the commune, including this church, which is 12th century. That's the back of the church. I'll swing around and get a better view of the back. The front part is a couple centuries newer. Now the buildings we're passing next straddle the Cornac River. Remember that little river? And this one on the right, which doesn't straddle the river, but is significant because it used to be the post office. And I think Google Maps thinks it still is. Now we're going to turn left just past the Cornac River as it emerges from under the buildings, go downstream toward the confluence with the Cebu, where together they form the Sonnet. This green space was a place where until the 1950s, people who lived around here had to come to draw their water. They didn't have wells, probably didn't have electricity. Certainly after World War II, they didn't have much of anything. That building in front of us, not the house in the background, but the one right there, is Le Grand Moulin, or the Big Mill, a historic building. We'll come up close here to the wall and look at this catch basin below the dam and below the mill races. The confluence is the mill pond. Now right here is where you had to come to draw water. I believe one could still draw water here if one wished, but so far I've been able to resist the temptation. This is 2022. Probably not a good idea to drink right out of rivers. And there you have the dam. And here you have a historic marker about the big mill. If you want to pause it and read, it's in both English and French. Feel free. A little history of the place. And now we're going to walk up the steps right after we take this quick overview of the green space again. I have seen people fishing here. They usually stand up on the wall on the other side of the footbridge and fish out of the mill pond itself. Apparently there are fish in these rivers. I've never seen one. Now we go up the steps to the Rue de la Sonnet, my street, only we're turning left. where we get a good overview of the dam, the mill pond, and the little park. As you see, it's actually a lovely little spot. That footbridge is no longer accessible to anybody but whoever owns the mill now, because it is a residence. And it looks dangerous anyway. And now we are going to walk south along Rue de la Sonnette, down to the street on which you find the Mairie and l'école. The Mairie is the city hall. L'école is the school. It's an elementary school. Much like in Las Vegas, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting an elementary school. Now we're turning up the street that leads to those places. And we'll take a few moments to look at the signage across the street, which will show you typically how French directions are given. You'll see that a few kilometers up is the hamlet of Serin, excuse me. They're still in Lizant, the commune of Lizant. Remember, commune is a municipality, nothing political one way or another. The mayor of this commune works up here on the left, and the school kids go to the school up here on the right. First, we'll take a quick look at the school. And after the school, we'll swing around, poke our head in the mairie, and that will be the end of this video. That banner with the floppy end will be fixed when I come out of the mairie. So when you get to part 3, you can see. This is the elementary school. This was the first day of Easter break, so no school. The sign on the edge of the salle de fête says L'eau vite, or the living water, or the water lives. We're going to walk down this parking lot past these municipal vehicles, which look quite familiar. In fact, much of France looks quite familiar. If you look past the fact they eat snails and whatnot, you'll see that actually it's structured in a very similar way to the United States. A département, we're in the département de Vienne, is actually a county, very much like an American county, not an English county. An administrative division of the state with which you do all your business, except for municipal business, which is done here at the mayor's office, or mairie. We'd call it City Hall. You can read the notices outside. Again, if you want to pause and read them, feel free. They're all in French. Nothing too exciting. I was hoping to meet the mayor this trip, but I could not because he was in a closed-door meeting. As we go in, we'll see there's the door which is closed with the meeting going behind it. There are mostly brochures of various kinds, the kind that a city would give out. And then we head back outside and into part 3. So stay tuned.